Welcome back to Native Honor Hours. This is Ed Zendejas, and my co-host is
Cindy Kraft. How y'all doing?
we're back. It's been a couple of weeks since we've been on, and of course, Cindy had to check in probation again.
Constantly.
Are they going to
slapping
revoke
you around?
Are they going to revoke you here pretty soon? You've been pretty close to walking over that line.
They forgive me and gave me sainthood for working with you.
Okay, well, it's community service.
People, I hope nobody believes him. If the cops knock at my front door, you are defending me free of charge.
Having said that, I got pulled over by the police today. I was about I don't know, a mile away from the res, and
Ooh, in danger of being brown.
And a state patrol pulled me over and said, I pulled you over because you don't have your stickers on your plates. He said, but I did a check, and your plates are good. You just don't have your stickers on. I'm thinking, then why'd you pull me over then? And he said, I'm gonna
Did
have
he
to
give you a ticket, or did he just hassle you?
He said, I have to give you a warning. I said, why? Why just put my stickers on for me? Let me go. But he had to sit there and run my plates, and I had to make sure. Do you have insurance? I said, yeah. He said, don't worry, I can look that up too. And I was sitting there fumbling around. So they know. They were just. It was just. I was polite. I kept my hands on a wheel. I didn't reach for my wallet. I didn't reach for these are pointers for you, by the way.
See, why didn't you play the law card? Listen, I'm an attorney. I am a lawyer.
No. Here's what I did after, but they don't know that coming up to the car. I mean, they're expecting the worst. So you got to have your hands right here so they can see them, and because sometimes you get the thought, well, maybe I should reach for my wallet to get in your pocket, or maybe I should reach over to the glove. Don't do that.
Just you.
No, this is my community service to you. Keep you alive. If you're reaching for the glove box, they may think that you're going for a weapon. So don't reach for the glove box. Don't reach for your wallet like this, or fumble around because they think that you could be going for a weapon. So just stay there, put your hands here, wait for them. They'll come up to your window, either this window or that window, and wait for them to instruct you. Roll your window down. You're like, and then you can engage them if they ask for your wallet or identification. Then you can.
What if I say no mask, no window rolling down, dude?
Well, then get ready for one of them nightsticks up top of your head. I'm trying
I would love to see him try.
Oh, they will. And we were out in the road. It was a state highway about a mile away from the reservation. So there's.
But though, I don't do white parents tell their children that? Do they have to share that with them, or do the police treat them different? Do you think if you'd have been an old white gray-haired man, any of that would have happened?
We know the answer to that. I'm just trying to say, Cindy, if you want to live to see another day, this is what you need to do. And then we can get on a show and we can talk about all that stuff but you need to stay alive. So hands here, wait till they come. Don't reach, don't just, yes, sir. No, here it is right here. And then don't get lippy, because you're gonna get maced, tased, or whatever it is, and then we'll be talking about you. We'll be doing marches for you.
Well, at least he had a reason to stop you. If they're gonna stop me, they better have a really good reason.
Oh no, it was this much of a reason.
I know.
They pull you over thinking, you know what? I got a brown dude here, probably has an expired license, probably doesn't have insurance. This would be a jackpot today. And maybe there's some existing warrants for his arrest. But anyway, I don't want to spend a whole lot of time because we have a very special guest, and I'll let Cindy, since I've talked too much, we'll let Cindy take over and introduce our guest, and we'll go from there.
Our guest today is Christine Noblish. She works for, please educate me, I forgot who you work with.
Great Plains Action Society.
Right. Great Plains Action Society. She has been a mentor and helper to one of our great students, Alex. And she, around Thanksgiving's time, started a movement called Truthsgiving. Welcome to Native Honor Hours. Tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well, my name is Sikowis, also Christine Nobis, and I'm Plains Cree Saulteaux of the George Gordon First Nation. That's in Saskatchewan, in Canada. And I grew up in Winnipeg, Manitoba, not too far from there. And I've been living in Iowa City for 15 years now. I came here and got my master's degree in religious studies with a graduate minor in Native Studies. And I have 2 children, and I founded Great Plains Action Society quite a few years ago, very loosely, trying to build something here in Iowa because I saw a real lack of representation and outlets for Indigenous people to speak up. But then it became a real thing in 2016. There was a lot of support all of a sudden for something I was trying to do that didn't seem to have any, and then all of a sudden Standing Rock happened and people wanted to support the work, and they see us and hear us now. And so we are a small organization, and yeah, Alex is one of our youth organizers.
What did you have Alex do for you?
Well, not for me, but for the organization and
your
herself.
Organization.
Yeah. So she and Keely Driscoll, they both are youth organizers, and they do a lot of different things. Right now, they've been working on a critical race theory campaign, trying to unban it, to educate people about the topic. You can go to our website and go under our campaigns, and you can see the web page that they've set up. They're doing really great work on that. Alex also likes to write a lot, and so she does blog posts that you can see on our blog page, and even graphics. So if you go on our Instagram page, some of those graphics on there are hers, and so both of them are doing really amazing work.
I talked in this program about the importance of the critical race theory debate, and the reason why that's so important that we get on top of that and try to push back on efforts to essentially ban the teaching of correct history, or
yes.
at least a perspective of those that got crushed. And I don't think a majority of the people who are pushing to ban it really understand what it is, other than it's pretty much the boogeyman that's going to come and destroy everything and buy, so it's just a scare tactic. And I applaud your work for educating people about that, and the need to allow educators to teach correct history. So great job.
Thank you. Yeah, it's funny because it's not like this was being taught in the first place. So they're banning something that doesn't really exist, because the truth is whitewashed, and schools do not teach correct history already. And diversity, equity, and inclusion training doesn't really exist as well. I mean, it sort of exists around, I guess, programming that pops in every once in a while into a classroom, or maybe an after school thing, but there's no class, specific to that. And that's really what this is. The term critical race theory actually isn't being used in the bill itself, or the legislation itself. It just, it's very vague, actually. But the term critical race theory, to describe what that is being used mostly by right-wingers, white supremacists, those types. I think it's because they have latched on to the term critical, and they're using that as a descriptor because they're thinking that it's to be harsh, right? And to be critical, right? But really, the term actually was meant to describe thinking, to critically think. And so that's why we use the term critical race theory to describe these bans that have happened in 18 states all over the country, and also the ban that Trump tried to do last year, the federal ban.
Yeah.
That didn't pass, but like that's just because that's the language that they've picked up on. So unfortunately, we have to use that language to describe what's going on, so people know what we're talking about.
Well,
They came to the Board of Regents at UNO to ban critical race theory. And the thing is, unless you're in law school, you're not learning critical race theory. They are using policy and politics to continue to whitewash history. They don't want a certain sector of the public to feel bad about themselves, which is insane, because history is history. You can't change it. Just because you don't like it, you can't change it. In Texas, they've changed the textbooks to say that the natives willingly gave the land to the settlers. They're trying to make it to say that they're trying to teach that slavery was a choice.
Well,
that it was a way to get here.
I should say Trump did sign an executive order that did ban, the teaching of utilizing that with federal contractors, for diversity and inclusion training. And that was picked up by the state legislatures, I don't know, 18, 19, probably more than that right now, that have actually passed legislation regarding that. So it's picking up steam, and I think it's going to be an issue that will drive politics in the next election cycle. And I think it's important to get ahead of it. And the work that you're doing in teaching and advocating about that issue is important, which I take it leads to your initiative for Truthsgiving.
Yes. Yeah. So that's something that a term I used for a long time now, like probably 10, I don't know, more than 10 years, just at home, like we don't celebrate Thanksgiving around here. We celebrate Truthsgiving because I would still be with, friends and family and just, enjoying a meal because that's what everybody else is doing. But I would try to educate, whoever I was with about like what's really happening here, because this idea that natives and invaders came together, over some nice meal is a mythology. It's false. It's false history. And so I about 5 years ago, this is the 5th year. So 5 years ago, my friend Dave and I were talking about, an anti-Thanksgiving event. And I told him, well, I'd like to use the word Truthsgiving, but nobody's going to catch on to that. It's not really that great of a name. I thought, and he said, actually, I think that's a great name. Because I was talking about how I definitely am anti-Thanksgiving, and, I understand why folks, the Wampanoag folks celebrate the day of mourning. And other folks around the country doing anti-Thanksgiving events. At the same time, I see people have, this day has become very important to many people to be with their family. So the act of the day of like getting together with family and eating like a harvest meal is actually, something that we can benefit from, and then also use to do good, to do more good, like, carry out mutual aid projects, and talk about, the truth, and, to accurately tell what happened. And so I was trying to think of a way, so that's why he thought Truthsgiving was a good way to describe that, because it's telling the truth. And so we did an event here in Iowa City, and we've done one ever since. And now this year we hosted a large fashion show with speakers talking about critical race theory, because this year we dedicated the theme of this Truthsgiving to the ban on, critical race theory. And we even have a website now, truthsgiving.org. You can go there and get more information. There's actions you can take. There's lots of resources to educate yourself. There's a zine you can download and print and share if you want.
Kenny, can we post that on our page and send that out to let people know about that?
We sure can.
I'll also share it with my class. I teach Intro to Native Studies. I like to share things with them that give them a different perspective than what they have been given up to the college level.
Oh yeah, the zine. Then you can print that out. You can print that if you want, and hand that out. And then there's also more resources on our Great Plains Action.org page. More zines there and resources. I'm, we even have a lot of art, so I'm trying to get the art uploaded so people can download that and print that for free as well. Yeah, so that's how Truthsgiving got started.
Do you think that since Standing Rock, people have been more aware of Native Americans, or do you think we have just come together more?
Both for sure.
I think so.
Because like I said, I was trying to get this little org off the ground for a long time before this happened. And it really was because of, settler invader media awareness, and, that I was able to get, more education or like resources out to other people. And then so more natives then also joined in. And so it's a combination of both.
I think so too. I think that we're in a regenerative time. I think that the more people try and push back and push down, the more we are actually standing up.
Yeah, I agree.
Do you have any other events that you have planned, or any other?
Yeah. Well, around Truthsgiving or just in general?
In general.
Both.
Yeah. Well, this is our quiet time of year, which I really like because I'm working on, the budget and just internal stuff. But we will probably do something on January 21st for Martin Luther King Day, in solidarity, with our Black brothers and sisters. And then we have the May 5th event for National Day of Awareness for Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women. We usually host something in Sioux City for that. And then we have a July 4th event to abolish monuments to white supremacy in Iowa. Yeah, this will be our 3rd or 4th year next year. 4th, I think, next year. And then we have, of course, Indigenous Peoples Day celebrations, and the Truthsgiving event. Those are our like kind of main events that we have. But between all of that, we do a lot. Like I was trying to add up how many times we spoke at things last year, and I think together as a group we probably spoke at about 100 events. And then we have our own forums that we host. We're hosting a forum hopefully on Sunday. I'm still waiting to hear back from a couple of folks, but it will be about the mascot issue in Mason City, which is heating up and getting really bad.
Ed wrote a book on the mascots, on the mascot situation.
What?
Yes. He taught a class about the mascots. One of the best classes I ever took.
Oh, wow. Well, maybe if you're interested, you could join us. Because I was actually looking for an expert. I was going to try to get in touch with the Illuminatives. Yeah, this is so fantastic. If you're interested, we would love to have you. It'll be about an hour to an hour and a half of folks from across Iowa and even the country joining the conversation about. Do you know about the Mason City issue?
I don't know specifically about Mason City, but I know. Trust me, I know the arguments that school boards put up, and the fight, the pattern, what happens. And
yes, so there's 27 schools in Iowa that are still using Native mascots. One of them is Mason City, and the school board decided to retire the Mohawks mascot not too long ago. And there's a huge lashback. There's now a Facebook page dedicated to keeping it, which has quite a few people on it, and a petition with over 1,500 signatures. And their reasoning is abhorrent, of course. One of the quotes says, if we ban Indians, then what's next? Like dogs and animals, like they're listing off a bunch of animals. And I'm like, do you realize how dehumanizing that is to equate us to animals? They don't
realize it.
No, they don't care. And even if they realize it, they don't care.
Mhm. So these are definitely folks that sit in the realm of white supremacy, and they
And are
have,
comfortable there.
yeah, and they're comfortable there. And they've even targeted a trans native child in the community who stood up for this, again, to the ban. They're happy the mascot's been retired, and they were fighting to have it retired. And this child is trans, and they outed him on the Facebook page and have been, I guess, doxing him. And this is a child, and so the community is really not okay. And I think, and I'm not sure who wrote the letter now. I'm forgetting who wrote the letter. Somebody wrote a letter from the community who asked the St. Regis band of Mohawks if it was okay to use that term, and they wrote back and said no. But that doesn't seem to matter to them because they're just continuing to do it.
Because they will dig until they find the one native, no matter how far removed from his culture and his family, that says it's okay, and then they dig in.
Yeah, and actually that's what's happening. There's a post that was just put up by a Dene man who says it's okay, and I'm like, no, how do you can't, what are you talking about? So like that, he's not even Mohawk. And so they're all like, yeah, thank you, thank you, thank you. It's like, no, that's not how it works.
And there's a 90% chance this man is a catfish.
Yeah.
Saying this is who I am, because a lot of times that's what's happening. They're saying they're native, they're saying this, they're saying that. Well, when it comes out in the wash, they don't have any native.
No. That's another problem, of course. Yeah. So that's why we're going to host this forum. We're also going to have John Kane. I don't know if you know who John Kane is on the show. He's a Mohawk, I guess, radio person. He has a show, and he's been fighting this mascot issue for a long time as well. So we have the Mohawk perspective, and then we'll have youth and then folks from the community. And hopefully, even the young person that's been fighting this mascot issue in Mason City as well, that's been unfortunately targeted by the community, but it's very brave of him to come on the show. And we will have even a couple folks also weigh in about the Indianola issue as well, because we have a huge issue there as well with another mascot. So we have a lot of work ahead of us.
Yeah, I first started teaching a class at University of Nebraska Omaha in 2007, and the reason why I started teaching a class is because I taught Native Studies issues, and what I found was that, and Cindy will tell you this, the first day of class I would have them write down on a piece of paper, what do you know about Native, about it, and
which
nothing.
I stole from him and do now.
And it was just made up stuff, and what they knew was based off of movies and or mascots, and so that's really what drove me to do this, because Cindy keeps saying it's about being offensive. For me as an educator, it's about perpetuating negative stereotypes and images and ignorance, and that gets in the way of learning. If you don't know the truth, then and you don't want to learn it, and then if you start banning teaching the truth, you're gonna constantly perpetuate ignorance. So that's, and not saying that they are not offensive. I'm just saying, as an educator standpoint, you have to get beyond the ignorance. And
what I get tired of it is they don't get to decide what offends us. Well, we're honoring you. I don't understand why you're offended. You don't get to. You don't get to tell me that I can or cannot be offended by something.
Yep.
But I'd be happy to do that. I like I said, I've had a lot of experience dealing with this, and I know what the argument. I know what the legal. I'm an attorney. I know what the case law and all that stuff. Been following it for years. So if you're interested,
yeah, we would love that. I don't know if you've I'm guessing you know then as well about the impact it has on our youth, on their psyche.
Yeah, psychological studies, national social psychologists came and said it's bad, shouldn't do this. All of those, I mean, the evidence is uncontrovertible about the negative impact of Indian. But school boards don't want to hear it, and it's very frustrating.
Do you remember Chief, and I've never been able to pronounce it right, Ilyanowicz?
Linowick?
Linowick.
Yeah.
That was a huge issue that we were still fighting here when I first came to school here 15 years ago. So we were fighting that mascot 15 years ago.
Wow.
And it got so bad that some students at some point, were hanging natives like from trees, like effigies,
Mm-hmm.
and just doing really racist stuff, very, very racist stuff. And so, this is not something that has just happened lately.
No.
Like a lot of natives have been standing up to this mascot issue for many years. I'm glad that it's
here we're fighting the Bellevue chieftains. I mean, I feel like everywhere you go, there's racially, and people say, well, Notre Dame has leprechauns. Well, are the leprechauns offended? That's an argument they use. You're using an actual native representation. It's not a fictitious character. It's an actual person that you are using.
Yeah.
Not a leprechaun.
I see Kenny's about ready to give us the finger again. The one we're probably used up all of our time, but you know what? We need to continue this conversation. And
yes.
Now that we have your information, and you can get back to us with the events and all the other information you have, and we can carry this on probably in another show. But
anything I can do to help, I would love to. I would love to get involved.
Yeah, we would love that. Maybe
consider us an ally. Whatever we can do to help our little tiny show here, our little humble roots here, we're happy to help. But Kenny, you ready to take us out? All right. Well, thanks for coming on, and we'll be in touch. Appreciate all your efforts.
All right.